I stand firmly in the fact that I'm one of the best to ever do this. For the culture, for my coast, and for my city. This is the Best Rapper in LA podcast. And I'm your host, Murs. What up, though? We are rushed. We are trying to get to the airport. I am trying to get to the airport. I got to fly out to D.C. today. I also have to get back home to take my kid to his morning jiu-jitsu practice. Been up since 4:30. Just laying in bed waiting for this chance to get him up, dressed, and leave, come do this podcast, go back, taking the BJJ, come back, drop my other son off at his grandmother's house, and then go to the airport. Get ready to rock D.C. tomorrow. This week, hopefully if you're hearing this, D.C., Philly, Vermont, Boston, New York. Boston is an early show, 7 and 9 p.m. only. They're getting us in and out of there. New York is a later show, but it's also with Rap Fiera. I don't want to mispronounce the individual's name. And then Philly is the Milk Boy on the 10th, I believe. That's what's going on. The new single, Enjoy, is out. Please go listen to it, enjoy it. Send it to someone you love. It's a love song, kind of bounce out Silver Lake Rec League. And Flowers for Will I Am, those are the songs that are out right now. Please go listen to them, stream them.
Now I've been in love with some grace, 7s and some 9s and a couple crazy 8s, wait. Then I met the perfect 10. My player days was over, I was ready to begin. Twin flames, them other chicks was mid-range. Ill communication like we share the same membrane. You want it, then I need it, I will never be mistreated. Broke the cycle, won't repeat it, all my exes got deleted. Blue star, one body, but we two hearts. Made that shit official like a chick with a blue mark. Validated, verified, lost without you, where am I? If I had to live without your love, I would be terrified.
The album is available for pre-order, and with that, you get the whole album. If you've heard the whole album, please DM me. Let me know what you like. Shout out to Illest Nerd, who came to the show in Tampa. She let me know that Lightsabers and Black Forces is her jam. It's also my 7-year-old's favorite jam. My 2-year-old is really on Silver Lake Rec League, but he doesn't know how to articulate this, so he just says, I hear dad rap. I hear dad rap. I hear dad rap. I hear dad rap. If you have a toddler, he'll repeat that. But for a while, it was I'll Beat That by Redman. Now I got to beat out Redman. But he does not like Flowers for Will I Am. He will tell you, take it off. I not like this. Take it off. So, what do you like? Let me know. That's the update. And I got 30 minutes to get this podcast done. This is going to be a long one. But this is the crux. This is the foundation. The great Slug of Atmosphere asked me through what lens I rap. He gave me some perspective. Up until Felt 4, learning so much from that individual. God bless him. He gave me his lens, and that's his business. I'll share my lens. I was like, but everything for me is through the lens, I would say, of Crippin', but not really, because we'll get into this story, but through gangbanging. This aggressive Los Angeles culture. This is Los Angeles street culture. Many factors, if you ask me, because gangbanging is originally, to me, a Chicago thing. I always like to, and it sounds weird, but to show respect to the roots. And I won't go deep into that because I'm not an aficionado. This is from what I know. I know hip hop. I don't really know gangbanging, gang history, gang culture, but I'm extremely familiar with it. I'm not a scholar. But I feel, and if I love Walter Mosley and his novels. He went to the same high school as I did here in Southern California. And he tells stories about Eazy Rollins. So if you've ever seen Devil in a Blue Dress, you've seen his movie, but he has a whole series about that character, Eazy Rollins, as we talk about Eazy-E, the song this week. Wow, that fit really well.
And if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Growing up, they said the West had no lyricists. Can you imagine growing up hearing this? So I took my hip-hop serious. Years later, now the pen game is furious. Styles from a boy in the hood. Post-G-Funk era trying to do good. What about Quick and Dub C? King T ain't corrupt and sugar free. They master ceremonies and they move crowds. See, Homie, I'm from the West Coast and I'm so proud. This when crack started. Hey, yeah, we act retarded. Niggas be scrapping in the parking lot at Target. It's fucked up, but it's kinda funny. And we be set tripping, and it ain't over money. Red and blue is like Muslim and Jew, and I don't ever think to stop, but I'm praying that they do. In 92, we had a truce for a little bit, until they started back tripping over little shit. I was young, making sense of this crazy world, and my childhood hero had a Jerry curl. When Eazy-E was playing on the radio, I knew exactly how my day would go. California sunshine coming in, singing gangsta rap with all my friends. The origins of California hip-hop, where you can pop lock or you can get shot. Black, white, Latin, Asian, living in this.
Eazy was from the South, and he had a friend named Mouse who was really aggressive. And someone else, my mom used to tell me, someone call me Mouse. Shout out to the homie Jason. Call me Mouse as an insult, but he wasn't a reader like I was, so he didn't know. But Raymond Alexander is his friend. Forget why Eazy had to leave the South, but they both had to leave the South to come to LA. And that's kind of what happened to a lot of people. My father, and it's usually like, if you got with a white woman, if you killed a black if you killed a white man for fucking with black people, like if you were mouthing off, if you were mouthy, you didn't have the temperament, you didn't want to go to the service. Those are the kind of some of the dudes I know, for at least from my dad and my grandfather, that had to get the fuck out of the South and come here. So you already have this hot-headed, I ain't taking no shit temperament. And then when you get into the history of LA, you'll see that, look, I forget the asshole that was before Daryl Gates. I forget his name, but I'll get my notes out one day. But he was the police chief and Daryl Gates was his assistant, if you know anything about the history of the uprising. And this asshole was hiring former military and also hiring the cops that got pushed out of. Imagine how much of a piece of shit racist cop you would have to be to get pushed out of a Texas police department in the 1940s. Those are the guys he was hiring. So if you were running from being a hot-headed, I would say level-headed black person not willing to accept the conditions of the Deep South and Jim Crow, you're coming to California. And then if you lose your job for being too aggressive, imagine that, enforcing the unjust laws of the South, your police chief will say, hey, go check out my boy in Southern California. He wants motherfuckers like y'all. The first gangs in Los Angeles were the spook hunters and the nigger knockers, shit like that. That's where the AC Deuceys and the businessmen and the Sloths and some of the first Bloods and what would become Bloods and Crips came from. Not to mention when they decimated the Black Panther Party of Los Angeles, 10 blocks from where I sit right now. Rest in peace to Bunchy Carter, Geronimo G. Jaga Pratt, and all the comrades. That's what creates the different version of Chicago gangbanging. And also here, like, we are at our breaking point. And I'm already starting to tear up. I'm emotional. This is where racism, institutional racism, and we have gone to get our freedom and try to find equality. We're at the edge of the fucking continent. Our back is literally up against the wall, but so is theirs. How are they going to let us free, but not let us free? They're pushing back. We're pushing back. We have nowhere to go. We're the furthest we've been from Africa right now. From our roots. We had roots in the South. Now we had to uproot and move here. People coming from Mississippi, from Texas, from North Florida, from deep Georgia. We're here now. Some of us have served this country in World War II, World War I, and not getting what we need. Unlike a lot of veterans, whether black or white or brown or Asian, indigenous, all these people that have served the country, and like, what's up now? The beginning of our veterans not getting the assistance and the respect they deserve. If you feel they deserve that. It's a whole nother. This is very complicated, multi-layered. But this is where we are. This is, like I said, so this episode may go on for a while because this is who I am. This is how I got my lens. Very aggressive, very violent culture here in Southern California. And I get into the earth because I'm a hippie and a vegan. We don't have blizzards that you can know winter's coming. And you may have more snow or it may be more cold than other places. We don't have hurricanes where you know the storm is coming. We have earthquakes where shit jumps off at any moment. And that's how parties were. That's how going to school was. You don't know if it's going to be a black and brown, I hate that shit, but black and brown riot at school today, you don't know. You don't know if you're going to get pulled over and you're not going home tonight or today. It's earthquake culture. Or as we saw once again, like fire. Like, okay, Santa Ana's could be, like, you never know here. And I think that's inside of us as well. The lack of leadership in the household is another thing. So when you take that away, you take away the Black Panthers, you implement a police force and also ancillary hate groups like the spook hunters. I may be fudging on spook hunters is for sure. Nigger knockers may or may not be. So once again, Walter Mosley, who was kicked off of, he was a writer for the new Star Trek on Paramount, and he was telling the story of how an Irish cop called him a nigger in Los Angeles, and a white person in the writer's room, did I say the writer's room? In the writer's room, told him he was offended by him saying nigger in reference to something that really happened to him, and he was kicked off the show. He was kicked out of the writer's room. That's the great Walter Mosley, God bless him. And that's the shit, that's 2020 whatever. That's woke shit. So woke that a black man who encountered racism can't tell his story without offending a white person. Man, if you don't stop with this bullshit. I didn't have kids, I wouldn't have Paramount Plus, but I have not watched an episode of Star Trek anything since. Fuck them. With my whole chest. All right. I digress. Like I said, this could go on forever. It's knowledge of self, is why I learned a lot of this stuff, to know who I am. And then I don't know if my 5% brothers and sisters have something in their teachings or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where it's understanding of self. And I'm coming into the era of understanding myself. I had knowledge of self, and I think wisdom of self is me applying it and being able to succeed in this wicked system. But the understanding of self is what I have to raise black children and black men on this planet, I believe. And this is why this could go on forever. But the lack of role models against all these like hate groups. So we form our own. And then our community organizations, like I think those are what, when Bunchy met Huey in a Northern California penitentiary or prison, he deputized him to start the Black Panthers in LA. And I believe those built on the businessmen. I don't know if that was before or after. This is where I get fuzzy. I have to go to my notes. And they built a strong organization. So if you're a black child, you have to look up to these men in the berets and the leather jackets who are giving you the 10-point program and free lunch or free breakfast and meals and stuff. History is a tricky thing because everyone is popular. Malcolm X did not have a Nike, didn't have his tennis shoe. Neither did Dr. King. They didn't even have strong approval ratings within our own communities. Niggas were not trying to go outside. Excuse my French. They were not trying to go out. Our community were not trying to go outside and get hit with water hoses. Everybody wasn't with the shit. But if you are born in my era, I thought, oh, of course. We all wasn't having it. No, some people just wanted to put their head down and keep working, which is honorable. But, even for American history, if you watch Hamilton or shout out to Lin-Manuel Miranda, but like the American Revolution had a 30% approval rating or something like that. It wasn't that popular. Niggas was like, hey, George Washington, hey, take that bullshit over. Take that anti-British red coat shit over there, bro. You ain't bringing that shit over here. You ain't finna make the block. I ain't fucking with the British. I'm gonna pay my taxes. Fuck it. These people that are heroes of our history now were not heroes of our history then. Same thing goes for the Black Panthers. At the family reunion, my auntie bust me out like, nah. Your aunt, my auntie that's a little closer to my age, is how it happens. My great aunt was like, nah, y'all ain't about, they were in the projects and they were feeding kids. And my auntie said, I better not catch you over there with them Black Panther motherfuckers. Scared to death, and rightfully so, that their kid would get caught up with the Revolutionary Party. And what would happen? Before you turn 21 years old, if you're Fred Hampton, you're dead. So a black mother had the 100% right and justification to say, don't go over there. In my head, I'm like, why would you be down? And that's coming from my perspective because I think how important freedom is, but also I got to deal with those consequences regardless with Bloods and Crips wanting to kill each other now. I'm like, if we could all get together and fight the oppressor, I'm with that. Because I could most likely go to jail or die for something, for selling drugs in my own community, or like the stakes it's way easier now. I'm living in this violent culture regardless. And now it's aimed at, they've perfected it. Once again, the genocide has been perfected here on the West Coast where they've now, because there's a lot of revolutionary ties and discipline and structure to gangs in Chicago, from my understanding. LA is just berserk craziness, and we are at each other's necks. So violence is not an option. It is the culture. It is the way of life. So if I had a choice of living in a state of violence or in a state of war, because that's what it is, the amount of bodies that get dropped, Desert Storm doesn't have shit on the crack era in LA. If you look at the stat, that's just LA. That's not Baton Rouge. That's not Shreveport. That's not Little Rock, where bodies are dropping. Just Southern California, the bodies that were dropped and murders, killings. I don't call them murders and homicide. It's a war zone. So if I had a choice to be at war with my oppressor or be at war with my brothers, so it was never a choice to me. But now I said, understanding of self, I understand it wasn't always like that. They made sure it was like that. So I'm looking for father figures. My father, we'll start there. 90% of the stories I hear about my father, because I didn't know him, or about him assaulting other men or assaulting my mother. He was violent. My grandfather kept a pistol above the cash register, in the safe, behind the presser, at his house, and in his trunk. Violent. The two closest men to me. When I'm 3.5, my brother is born. My grandfather's had enough of my father's domestic abuse. He's purchased 4 apartments in Silver Lake area, which was very, very not what it is today. And his son lives in one. He's going to give one to my mother. He had 2 tenants in the other. He took my father at gunpoint, said, clean this place, get it together. When you're done, I'm going to come pick you up in a day. Carpet, painted the walls, everything. And then put him on a bus to Columbus, Ohio. Told him, if you come back, I'll kill you. Verified by my father when I finally got to sit down and talk to him when I was 15. Verified by my mother, and then more recently admitted by my grandfather. Violent. My father, from his nutsack, I am from his nutsack, was forced at gunpoint to prepare this apartment, which I then moved into. I'm just talking about coming from a house where my mom would tell me, like, she decided to really leave him when she woke up from a nap and I was playing with his heroin balloons. Like, violence, drugs, it's been a part of my life, my whole life. There's not a time where I haven't known violence. So we move into this home where, if you believe in energy, there's a violent energy already in this apartment. The young man across the hall, my mother and my uncle is a part of my life. He's been a very positive, talk about positive role model. He's been one. But still, he's a black belt on karate, and I don't know if that's violence. Could very well defend himself, and I've seen him fight from a young age. So there's that. But that makes him cool to me, because he's like Bruce Lee, violence. He works at the cleaners. My mom works at the cleaners. My aunt works at a hotel in Hollywood. So everyone's gone to work during the day. By the time I'm about 7, we're for the 3rd year living in this apartment, I start coming home by myself. The lady across the way is a bus driver. Her son is, when he's home and not in jail, takes care of us. Her daughter takes care of us. And then once I get home, she takes care of my brother. Once I get home from school, I was so young that I got let off the bus and I tried to walk across the street. There's a 7-Eleven. It's on like Beverly and Hoover. And when it would say don't walk, I would go back to the other side of the curb. And when the red hand would start flashing, I thought that meant go. So I'd go to them. I couldn't make it across the street. Like, how did the chicken cross the road? I couldn't, but I was 6 or 7. I couldn't figure it out. Tommy's Burger. I could see it. Tommy's Burger's right across the street. Very LA. On the corner is a pink Jim's Market owned by an Asian family. Latino and Asian family and black families all living in apartments up and down the street. First time my brother's big wheel got stolen, had to fight some kids. So I'm fighting. That's 4 or 5 years old when we first moved in, fighting because they tried to steal my brother's Dukes of Hazzard. A black kid, a brown kid stealing a big wheel with the Confederate flag on it from my little brother, me going to fight said brown kids to get my brother's Confederate flag big wheel back. I see it vividly. The kid across the hall from us, the older black man who I again idolize, I won't say his name, but always brown Dickies, white t-shirt. He was a blood. I was an avid Dodger fan, television propaganda. Extremely displeased that they went to the White House and some more shit. But anyway, these Dodger pajamas I owned, I wear them every day if my mother let me. My play clothes, whatever. Silver Lake Rec League, I was into basketball as well. He would teach me basketball. We'd have a shopping cart. How did the shopping cart get from Safeway on Sunset to down on our block? Who knows? But we would play the basketball in there because we didn't have a park to go to or basketball. The park was way far, and the park didn't have a basketball court because if you had a basketball court, that brought black people and if you don't know, that's once again L.A. So then, if you don't have a basketball court, if you have a basketball court, they think you're going to hang out and gangbang and shoot each other, which is a possibility. Don't have a basketball, so they don't build them, so they don't attract that element, so the kids can be safe in the park. But then when you don't have that basketball court, there's no way that they're not gangbanging on the front porch because there's no option. This is why, not a lot from my era, there aren't a lot of great basketball players from Los Angeles, California, or football or sports, any type of athletes, because gangbanging. The best rappers were incarcerated or killed before their prime. The best everything to me that would have come out of my city are gone because of things. So we're playing basketball on the shopping cart. He pushes it to make me miss because he's, early 20s, late teens, young man, antagonizing the youngster, whatever, busts my whole shit open, chips my tooth. My mom works for her father at a dry cleaners in South Central. We do not have health insurance. We do not have dental. That's important later. So the violence is there. This kid also in my Dodgers uniform, pajamas, I see this vividly. One of my first fights, he takes me to the park where there is no thing to let us play in a sandbox, where there's no basketball court. There was a kid wearing blue, and he told me, hey, tell him, I forgot what the exact word is, tell him this and sock him in the face. And I just walked over because this is my idol. This is also the only male that spends a lot of time with me because everyone else is working or my dad is absent. And my mom's not really one of those moms that dates. And so I just walk over and fight, light this kid up, bow. And something blood. That was it. That was my first or second fight, depending on when the big wheel gets stolen. Because this dude who is a male that is cool, who has a crispy white t-shirt and burgundy Dickies and green, burgundy and green, I can see those colors, tells me to do this. And also too, there's a thing when someone's going away to jail, and I don't know he's going away to jail, but he's not always there. So when he's there, I'm really happy and I want to impress him. When he spends time with me, I want to do anything to impress him. I'm not going to speak for other black men, but when you get into why rappers buy jewelry, why people are violent, why people show out, this attention that should be guaranteed me as a male human from the male humans in my community, it's natural to want the approval from older males, especially if that one that's not genetically connected to you is absent. You want it from somewhere. When you're an oppressed person and you're not respected, when you walk out of your house and you're black and you're not respected, it feeds this desire. I have a chipped tooth. My mom can probably see she's highly intelligent, emotionally and scholastically, that I need it. She starts dating. One dude's an asshole. She meets this other dude. He works for the school district. He has fucking health, medical and dental. He has an older son. Her 7-year-old son is seeking this now, this leadership. Fuck it. He lives in Linwood. I get my teeth fixed. The dentist in Southgate. First night we go to spend the weekend at his house. We come in the door. He opens the door and immediately turns around, goes back, into the room. His stepson is 6 foot something at 16 years old. And he is beating the shit out of him, not with a belt, with his bare hands, because he didn't do something. The door's cracked. I'm seeing him like bombing on this motherfucker, like do. They are rumbling. He's not hitting back. He's fucking this dude up. That's the first time I set foot in this house, is what I see. 2 little boys walk in. We have to sleep in that room with that young man that's just been assaulted by his father. My mother goes back and does whatever hangs out with his dad. I can't tell you guys how that affected me. I'm still, and that's not one, this is, like I said, this is all the time. I'm 7 years old now. Violence, but still looking. So now this guy, he made, how nice do you think this kid was to us, this teenager? Now I'm thinking he's grown. He's tall. He has brown skin like me. He got beat up by his dad. I don't think less of him, but how do you think he feels us having to see that? So it's constantly him beating us up in a loving way. This is how we communicate affection. The next day, he's like, kids he grew up with, his dad works for a school district in a far off school that's out of the hood. So he goes to play basketball there. He's tall. His dad makes sure he stays in basketball, but the kids he grew up with that didn't have dads, they're still there. So he says, hey, go down the street. My homies, blah, 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 and blah, 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 got a little brother. You could play with him. All right. This little kid walks up on me and is like, yo, what's up? I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm Nicholas. What's your favorite color? Red? Because I learned that from the other guy. May have been a blood, something in there. Boom. Wow. We squat. Boom. Punching each other in the face. We are fighting on the front porch. Right on the steps. He's at me. Bah. Pins me down. Your favorite color is blue now. Boom. That's my first day playing outside in what will become our home for the next 4 or 5 years. Countless fights after that. Tackle football, like just all kind of things. Like when I moved to the Valley later on, and I'm like, you guys play 2-hand touch. This is weird. You guys fight each other and you're mad about it. Like we'd fight and go back this became my best friend. That was punching me in the face. So, that's the whole thing too. It's like, and what do you think that would happen to anyone who wasn't from our block that punched me in the face or punched him in the face? This is how young it starts. His brothers are the coolest guys because my older stepbrother now isn't home. He's at basketball tournaments. He goes to school. He leaves at 6 in the morning. He doesn't get home till 5 or 6. Other weekends, he's at his mama's house and blah. So my friend's brother, my new best friend's brothers from neighborhood crip become my idols. And then we talked about Fester from Comes Home. The gangbangers don't have to work. Everyone who's living, these are homes. Some of the would be the last homeowners in Los Angeles County, kind of busting their asses every day to keep their homes and supposedly get a good education from the school board or from the school district. But the only men that are available to influence us when they're not incarcerated or actually are the police who don't look like us or the gangbangers who do look like us and are well-dressed, or the dope dealers. Dope dealers are starting, D-boys are starting to become a thing with Jericho, and not the smart ones. Smart ones are getting locked up. This is 86, 87, when the big homie around the corner got locked up. He was doing it smart and low-key, and it's still a little flashy. They're flashy, but they don't stop and talk to the kids. They hustling, they getting money. Gangbangers are holding down the hood. These are the people who, if in their inception, were supposed to be around all the time to protect us from the spook hunters or nigger knockers or whoever. They are our protection. They are our community leaders. Because these are community organizations before they were made into gangs. And of course I want to be like my community leader or my community organizer. Every night, gunshots, and we have sleepovers. We're saying, is that a 45? That's a 12 gauge. That's a blah, blah, blah. That's a deuce. And then we go into the alley and look for the shell casings to see who's right. We had guns and ammo hidden under these stack of bricks in our clubhouse, which was the side of the house between the alley. We had 1 Playboy and 6 issues of guns and ammo. This is how violent I was bred to be. I can't make this shit up. the ghetto bird going over your head every night. This is a fucking war zone. And during a lot of wars, like during the Vietnam War, I believe there's heroin and opiates being used. So maybe that's the consistency. So there's people getting high to escape the war, and that's funding the war. They're selling crack in our communities, and they're buying and all of this is coming from, if you could look it up yourself, you know where it's coming from.
You know, Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. both said it was Contras. You got the two highest ranking men in America, you know, confessing to be part of the army that was bringing drugs into this country.
If you haven't heard the science, go listen to it.
Genocide. The deliberate extermination of a race, culture, or an entire nation. Centuries ago, they brought us here on a boat, enslaved us, beat us till our spirit was broke. Then they gave us freedom and a little bit of hope. Then they killed our leaders and they gave us dope. Crack from the CIA by way of Nicaragua, shipped to Rick Ross, he's the black godfather. Now Oscar Blandone was his known supplier. He snitched on Rick so that he could retire. Ratted on Ricky so we got out quickly. Now this is where the situation gets a little sticky. Not a citizen of the USA, he was released and got hired by the DEA. Then he got his green card from the INS, but that should never happen due to previous arrests. See, our government seems to think that there is a difference between powder cocaine and crack. For instance, you get 5 years for 5 grams of crack, but in the powder form you have 100 times that. Now who has the rock and who has the powder? Who's the oppressed and who has the power? They want you to fail so you wind up in jail. You know how much they make while you sitting in that cell? Billions of dollars for inmate facilities. You sell yourself back into slavery willingly. It's not black and white, it's so much more. It's rich staying rich and the poor staying poor. The poor whites meth, the poor blacks crack. It's not about race, and once you realize that, we as a nation are free to move on and become one people, a movement strong.
The science, because we are the fucking experiment. No wonder where we live is called the projects. And we're not even in the projects, so I don't think we're poor. That's another thing. The projects are in Watts. That's where we go get our haircut. I don't even know what the projects are. They're just another group of apartments because I was born into apartments. So I'm basically, some of my very first memories are in apartments. So I don't know that that's a poor neighborhood. Kids that live in apartments. Later on, I'm like, that's where I used to get the haircut. Okay, that's the Nickersons. But this experiment in Los Angeles is outside of the projects. It's wild. I live in Linwood. I play Pop Warner football. Violent. First person I know to get shot, my homie would walk in. His brother is in a community organization. I told my son the other day, we had 11 kids in our radius, starting from just one long city block. So if we were going to school, we'd be the last pickup. When we're going to baseball or football practice, me and my brother are the first to start picking up everybody. Come on. And by the time we get to the end of our block, there's 11 to 13 of us. My homie we got toward the end of the block. His brother comes out with a 12 gauge. Hey, cuz, look this shit. I'm like, whoa. Oh, your brother is so cool. We start practicing. One of the homies coming up on a bike said, hey, call him my one of my good friends' name. Your brother's dead. Him and his friend are playing with the shotgun, and one of the other ones shot the other one in the face. I just saw this dude. It's not gang violence, but it's still, why did he have the 12 gauge? Why would you have a 12 gauge in your house? Well, because his father probably came, and he's a homeowner in Linwood, California, which was a white neighborhood. It wasn't safe for him not to have a gun in his house. We're not thinking gun safes. He's not thinking his son is going to use the gun to be a part of this community organization, to be a Crip. He has his sons. Maybe he's still under the legitimate fear that someone white could come attack his house. So his sons know where the gun is. I don't know, but I wouldn't call it negligence. It's more necessity than negligence. So now my older stepbrother is a person I could look up to, and my stepfather, who fights grown men and also fights my mother. We go around the corner to Compton often, where his best friend lives, and he has 2 sons. His 2 sons are 13 and 14. That's a good age to just babysit us while his best friend and his wife and my mom and him go out and do shit. These are the kids that show me my first grenade. These are the kids that walk me to the Compton swap meet. praise God, I would say, I don't know if it's the right reason to praise God, but I had just become newly affiliated with the Crip organization, and they're from another Crip organization. So same team, kind of. And we walked to the Compton swap meet. I didn't know how dangerous that was. I just want to get some fucking candy and see some rap tapes. At the same time, I fall in love with rap. And these rappers are Run DMC, LL Cool J, Fat Boys. They look nothing like the black people in my neighborhood. They sound nothing like it. But it's cool because they're black people and they're having fun and it's loud and it has a dope beat. But I don't identify with them like that. I identify them the same way I identify with Carl Lewis or Norm Nixon at this time, or Magic Johnson, who I really didn't fuck with even then. Marcus Allen, shit like that. Pedro Guerrero, who wasn't even black. I thought he was black, playing for the Dodgers. You know, that's how foreign rap, they're athletes to me. They're not like me, you know? But these kids that in Compton that babysit me, they had to show me my first grenade. They showed me a machine gun. And then they're making the little kids fight for their amusement. And they're also, like I said, part of the Crip organization. So I'm like, okay, I want to impress them. And if I don't do this, they'll like lock us in the closet all night. And also when you know someone has a machine gun, a 9mm, and a grenades in their fucking desk in their bedroom, if they lock you in the closet, you're not really going to fight back. If they tell you to fight the kid across the street, you're going to fight the kid across the street. If they tell you to say cuz, they say you're going to, that's it. We played Pop Warner football, violent. We played against other teams, Compton, Long Beach, LA Demos, fuck them, and all good fun. Damn, they fit us in a championship. I'm still mad. You can listen to the song I got with Slim Kid Trey.
Bullocks where my mama worked. If you remember that, meet me at Jacobs in your LA demo cap. Linwood, night and no, purple with some white and gold. Watching Crunchyroll and attacking these Titans, bro. I guess I told you that I like to write, but yeah, I guess it's obvious I also like to fight. All you gotta do is give the homie a chance, and I'm guaranteed to show you the hands.
Somebody from the Demos moved in our neighborhood. That was fight off rip, but Blood or Cuz could fight. He had hands. 3rd grade, bro. We walked down to this dude's house, stood in the front yard. We heard you play for the Demos, cuz. Wow, it was on. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, you got hands. And he was with us. He still played for the Demos, though. His mama sure did drive him over there. He could play. I wonder what happened to him. But I'm taking the trolley, my brother. So now after I get out of school, my brother is still going to daycare. I got to pick him up on the Linwood trolley, which goes to Compton, or the edge of Compton. I pick him up. We get back on the trolley. I bring him home. These are my responsibilities at 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, summertime. I don't know when I had to pick up my brother, but I'm taking the trolley to Compton. So I'm familiar with Compton. And we'll end it here. NWA comes out. Boys in the Hood drops and they're rapping about Compton, Alpine radios. Jerry Curl's like, I cannot fucking believe it. Now there are gangbangers that are rappers. There are rappers that look like me that are being heard. When I tell you how important Eazy-E was to me and why I saw nothing wrong with who he was and what he represented, this is why. Talk to y'all next week.
And if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Growing up, they said the West had no lyricists. Can you imagine growing up hearing this? So I took my hip-hop serious. Years later, now the pen game is furious. Styles from a boy in the hood. Post-G-Funk era trying to do good. What about Quick and Dub C? King T ain't corrupt and sugar free. They master ceremonies and they move crowds. See, I'm from the West Coast and I'm so proud. This when crack started. Hey, yeah, we act retarded. Niggas be scrapping in the parking lot at Target. It's fucked up, but it's kind of funny. And we be set tripping, and it ain't over money. Red and blue is like Muslim and Jew, and I don't ever think to stop, but I'm praying that they do. In 92, we had a truce for a little bit, until they started back tripping over little shit. I was young, making sense of this crazy world, and my childhood hero had a Jerry curl. When Eazy-E was playing on the radio, I knew exactly how my day would go. California sunshine coming in, singing gangsta rap with all my friends. The origins of California hip-hop, where you can pop lock or you can get shot. Black, white, Latin, Asian, living in this melting pot. Throw up your W, and it don't stop.
Thanks for listening to the Best Rapper in LA podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is. If you like the show, leave a review on Apple Music or Spotify. And to support the podcast directly, go to patreon.com/MURS316, Murs316. See y'all next week. Peace.